All abuse is wrong, but it's very disturbing when the sexual offender or abuser is somebody loved and trusted by the victim. Hello, good people. This is Stella, your regular host on the Family Enrichment Hub. Thank you for keeping it with the Hub. I'm delighted to be speaking about another aspect of family dysfunction today, and that is sexual abuse on children or on our household members. A story was told to me by somebody within our neighborhood here of a child who was sexually abused by her cousin who was being kept by that family. And the chaos and confusion that ensued within the family was very, very unbelievable. Why? Because the sexual offender was a relative to the man in the house. And the lady wanted punitive measures to be taken against this relative. But the man was hesitant because he could not contain the shame that was going to come upon him as a result of what had happened to his daughter. So sexual abuse does not leave us the same. It distorts the entire household. It takes away the peace and the trust. It brings an atmosphere of chaos and suspicion within the household. I was looking at statistics from the American Academy of Pediatrics, and they say that 1 in every 3 girls and 1 in every 20 boys experience unwanted sexual contact before their 18th birthday, which is extremely alarming. That speaks to the fact that our children who are not yet adults are actually vulnerable to sexual predators who are all over the society. And basing on that, as parents and caregivers, I believe we need to take a more proactive approach rather than the reactive approach which comes in after the damage has happened. Why do we need to take a more preventive approach? Because we cannot totally eliminate crime and sexual abuse within our society. We can only put healthy boundaries which protect our family members from becoming the next victim of sexual abuse. And worse still, the fact that many times these sexual crimes are perpetrated by people who are loved and trusted by the household members who fall victim makes it more complicated. And if you're not keen as a parent, there are sexual crimes that will pass you without your knowledge. What are the gaps which create sexual abuse within our households? When we bring in relatives and distant relations within our homes, sometimes this creates a gap for abuse to happen to our children. There is also the issue of both parents are actively employed, and so they are rarely at home. They leave the home in the care of domestic workers, the house helps, the guards, and the gardeners, and that gives them sufficient time to plan their sexual mischief on children who are left in their care. We've also heard of so many stories of teachers who have abused their trust and committed sexual crimes on children who are loving and trusting. We have also seen TV programs that our children watch, that they are exposed to within our families. TV programs which are highly pornographic, TV programs which have very, very insensitive sexual scenes, which are not acceptable for the ages of our different children within the households. These TV programs stimulate the curiosity of children, and it leaves them vulnerable to the next sexual predator who is just lurking around their lives. The social media influence is also big on our children's sexual decisions, because for many of them, they are made to believe that in order to fit within the society and their groups of peers, you must look and dress in a certain sexy way so that you can be acceptable. That leaves them really vulnerable to sexual predators, and they'll find themselves beginning to engage in sexual activities before they are actually ready for it. There is also the peer pressure from the friends and colleagues of our children. Many times, there are children who have already started engaging in sexual activities and they come and have such a big influence on their friends. They'll paint sex as the most important, as the most powerful thing which is happening in their lives, and they make it look like it is not cool. You actually are a weirdo if you do not have a sexual partner. And so children will find themselves pressured to find a sexual partner and begin engaging in these activities before they are ready for them. I've also heard of the people who transport children to school. I've heard of border borders who have taken advantage of the innocence of these children while taking them to school and while returning them home. We've also seen the absent parents, like I've already mentioned, where both parents are actively employed. You leave a gap within your home because your program is so predictable. The people at home know the time you're leaving, they know the time when you return, so it gives them a lot of time to plan their sexual mischief on your children. We've also seen so many stories of fathers deliberately abusing their daughters. And what action should every parent and guardian be keen to take in their households to prevent sexual crimes? You need to look out for unusual behavior within your children. For instance, withdrawal, loneliness, and changes in their body. Those could be signs of a child is being sexually abused without your knowledge. And for the younger ones, you could actually do a physical check of their private parts just to be sure and to give you a cue on whether sexual abuse is happening to them or not. Encourage an atmosphere of open speaking within your family. Allow children to speak and blurt out whatever they need to, even if sometimes it may not make too much sense to you. Just take time to listen, because in that speaking, they'll give you cues on any sexual violations that may be happening to their lives. Believe your child when they are speaking to you and telling you sometimes even rather unusual stuff. Do not be dismissive of them. Show them that you have their best interests at heart. Show them that you care for them, you love them, and you're interested in listening to their concerns while doing your side investigations just to ascertain that the child is actually telling you the truth. Like I have mentioned, in every situation, in every challenge, prevention is usually better than cure. It's better to take these preventive measures than to be sorry later when the damage has actually happened to your child. What are the effects of sexual abuse on the lives of children? Usually it leaves very deep and lasting damage on the emotional, physical, spiritual, mental, and psychological development of children. It distorts their levels of trust, especially if the abuse happened from somebody they loved and trusted. It leaves lifetime trauma on children's lives. They grow up hateful and really vengeful. They're even unloving within relationships. They hide and shrink always because they've been taught to be quiet on important issues. They live lives of shame and believe that it was their fault. They are always in a sense of guilt. Depression and anxiety are realities for children who have been sexually abused. When abuse happens, please don't protect offenders. Speak up, expose them so that they do not damage the next life. Allow me conclude with this. As parents, let's balance the need and drive for money and career with the well-being of our family members, because when sexual abuse happens within the household level, it does not only affect the people who have been abused, but the rest of the household is equally thrown into a state of turmoil, into a state of confusion and mental instability. Nobody has rest, nobody has joy, nobody has peace because a family member has been sexually violated. And so when this happens within your household, kindly seek therapy and professional counseling, because in that way you'll be able to be restored to a state of normalcy again. You'll be able to have hope and see light at the end of the dark tunnel again, because sexual abuse is not the end of your story. You can emerge a winner and victorious again, despite the pain that you have been through. Thank you, friends, for listening in. Kindly share widely, for this is how we shall transform our society through the family. God bless you. Bye.